I was having a bad time. I was having a really bad time.
Let's go!
I have had a very eventful last couple of days, and now an abrupt end to my trip. So I haven't talked to the camera the last couple of days because I was running low on battery in my battery pack. At the end of my rest day, I got zero sleep that night. At first, it was too hot, and then I heard gunshots. I thought that there were trees falling. I was very nervous and I was just like anxious a tree would fall on me or something. Yeah, I went out and started talking to the other person at the campsite, and his two friends arrived around that time. And they said that what I was hearing was gas guns. I guess I haven't looked this up, but this is what they told me. And that is just like timed gunshots to scare off birds off like nearby properties. And as I started listening out and like looking at my clock and stuff when they would fire, I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. I did not know this was a thing. Yeah, after I was talking to these men, they were getting very drunk and started making me a bit uncomfortable. One of them was hitting on me a lot, and I was just like, I don't really want to lower my guard and go to sleep. So I decided I'm going to go to Weeman. One of the locals said, oh, go through Hattah Kulkyne National Park because it's really nice. And so I went through there, and it was really nice, but the road was really bad quality. It was like changing between loose gravel and sand, and it had like all these, it was undulating, and there was no shade, and it was hot. And by midday, I got through the park, and then it said I had 30 kilometers left, and it was midday. There's no shade on the highway. It was 34 degrees. And I was like, you know, I just don't think that this is safe for me to do. I haven't had any sleep, you know, so that's also like a limiting physical factor. And even if I had had sleep, I don't think that this would be a good idea. And so I decided to hitchhike for the first time in my life. I tend to be a bit on guard around strangers, and I really hate the idea of getting into a car that is going 100 kilometers per hour with someone that I don't know at the wheel. So yeah, I flagged down a car and I hitchhiked for the first time. He was really lovely. He gave me some water. He had a cute little dog as well in the car. I hung out in the shade at Weeman until it got a little bit cooler, and then I went into the campsite and set up my tent. There was no one else there, so I was once again camping completely alone. But I had a great night's sleep. So I guess being the only one at the campsite has grown on me, and I'm able to sleep in those conditions now. So something that I did want to film that day, but was worried about using too much battery. I was having a bad time. I was having a really bad time. First 2 weeks, I was feeling great. I was really enjoying everything. And then I had those 4 days in a row where one was meh and the other 3 were just shit. I had the day where it was just really boring. I was riding 60 kilometers in a straight line and I got really bored and a bit loopy. And then I had the day that was so-so, going into Nangiloc along the river. It was more of an interesting ride. Then the rest day was pretty bad because it was just so hot. Had no sleep. It was really hot again. Had to hitchhike, really out of my comfort zone. Also, a first was pulling an all-nighter. I don't think I've ever done an all-nighter, and I did one on this trip. So, not ideal. The heat was really kicking my ass. And yeah, I was just really struggling. I was homesick, feeling isolated. I just felt like I really wanted to go home and cut my trip short. But Gunbower National Park, which is the second half of the route between Swan Hill and Echuca, is apparently a real highlight of the Murray River. So I really wanted to do that part. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to catch the bus to Swan Hill. And I had a look around Swan Hill. I went to the art gallery. I got some KFC because I was really craving some junk food. And then I saw that there's a laser light show at the Pioneer Settlement at night. And so I got a ticket to that and I saw that last night and it was amazing. The most amazing lighting I've ever seen, and also projections and stuff like that. It was just, if you're in Swan Hill, you have to go there. Like, you absolutely just have to go there. My mind is blown by the laser light show. Best thing I've seen on any of these trips. Just like really spectacular. So yeah, after that day yesterday, I had enough sleep, had a really chill day, saw some cool stuff. I felt a lot better and I was like, you know what? I think I will go all the way to Wodonga. Like, I'm excited about this bit to Echuca. I think I'll do the whole trip. I checked Vic Emergency and it said that Gunbower National Park was flooded, which was the highlight of the rest of the trip. The river track that I wanted to take is specifically the part that is flooded, I guess because it's right next to the river, so that makes sense. I've decided to ride back to Swan Hill and catch the train back to Melbourne and go home now. If I'm not going through the national park, then I'm going to go on the highway. And this is supposed to be about the journey, right? Not the destination. Once it's no longer flooded and I can take a week to a week and a half off again, then I'll come back to Swan Hill and start here and go through to Wodonga. So that's my plan now. It's fine that I didn't go all the way to Wodonga in one trip, because the enjoyment is really what's most important. And something, a big reason for this trip and bikepacking is to just clear my head and have it ready to be filled again with all of the chaos of my everyday life in Melbourne. And to just be excited to be busy again. And I've definitely reached that point already. I reached that a few days ago. I also feel like it's a win that, I had this shit time for a few days and then I pulled through and then I was excited again to actually do the rest of the trip. So that's the end of my trip. Very sudden. I feel like I'm not ready to go home now, thought I was gonna stay outdoors for another week, but yeah. We'll see you in my next vlog where hopefully I'll be finishing off the Murray River. So here's my little map of where I went on this trip. My first bikepacking trip in South Australia. So I've been editing these vlogs and uploading them in July, which is half a year after I did this trip. And I still have not gone back to finish off, but I'm hoping that in the spring I will be able to go back and finish off that last little bit between Swan Hill and Wodonga. So see you then. Bye.